It is Tech Talk time. Matt Dickerson, welcome back.
Thank you very much, Rod. Good to be back and good to be chatting about technology. What else would people want to be doing on a bright sunny morning? Well, maybe not so sunny, but whatever sort of morning it is, talking about technology.
I was going to ask, where are you? All right, let's start with number one. Someone has paid over $39,000 for a 15-year-old iPhone. How come?
How come? That's a very good question. I don't know the answer about how come. If you've got an old iPhone, maybe in its original packaging, tucked away on a shelf, time to bring it out because people are paying for these. And that's exactly what happened here. The original iPhone that came out in 2007, someone, I don't know why, maybe they're a collector, maybe they thought we'll sell this down the track, but someone had one in an original box, all still sealed from the manufacturer, and decided to pull it out and sell it and got $39,000 for it. At the time, this person would have paid probably, and that's US $39,000, they would have paid about US $599 for it. And even if you account for inflation, that's worth about US $852. So the $39,000 is not a bad return on your investment if you're happy to stick that on the shelf for 15 years. You don't get that sort of return on property, do you? So it's not too bad. Why someone had it on the shelf, why they did that, I haven't been able to find out those details. But if you've got some old technology sitting around and it's in pristine condition, bring it out. Auction houses would love to go and sell it for you.
So, would it still work?
I'm intrigued by that because often when you sit those batteries around, again, it's in the box. It wasn't taken out and charged up. So if you sit those batteries around for a long period of time, sometimes they get to the point where they no longer work. You can't actually use that battery. So if you replace the battery in it, there's no reason why it wouldn't work. I'm not convinced that original battery would work. But why would you want to? Because the specs of it aren't that impressive, Rod. If you look at some of the things, the memory on it, for example, had 8 gigs of memory. They released the original iPhone with 4, 8 and 16 gigs. So this one had 8 gigs of memory. If you compare that to a new iPhone now, they come as a bare minimum with 128 gigs, but you can get all the way up to 1 terabyte of memory. The camera on it, it had a rear camera, not a forward-facing camera, just the rear camera. It was a 2 megapixel camera, only took photos, no videos. You compare that to a modern iPhone 14. It's got 3 cameras on the back, 1 on the front. One of the cameras on the back is a 48 megapixel camera. They'll take videos at 4K resolution, so quite impressive there. The battery, 1400 milliamp hours versus 4300 milliamp hours. Even the thickness, the old iPhone was 11.6 millimeters thick, the new one 7.9 millimeters. So, yeah, I don't know why you'd want to get out of the box and use it. I think it's just something to sit on the shelf and show people how much money you've got by saying, look at that phone there, I paid 39 grand for it.
I can think of better things to do with my money.
Exactly.
And maybe that is a wait for Motorola's Rollable concept phone.
Yeah, there's a lot of phones coming out that are folding phones, and lots of manufacturers think that's the way. But Motorola have got a concept where it's a roll-up phone. Now, it's not what you might think where you take something and roll it up like a sheet of paper, but it actually sits in your hand at about 4 inches high. You press a button on the side and magically it just extends to its full 6.5 inches. At the bottom of it, it actually curves around, so it rolls around as such 180 degrees and then rolls up the back. You don't see any of that. All you see is that you've got a 4-inch phone and you hit a button, suddenly you've got a 6.5-inch phone. Will this take off? Will this be the concept that people use rather than foldable phones? I'm not convinced, but it's just another way of looking at the format of a phone, which has been basically the same concept for a long period of time, where it's just been a bigger and bigger flat phone, folding phones, rolling phones. We're getting different formats of phones, and who knows what will be the winner in the long run. But people are trying different concepts.
All right, and Netflix is to try a new concept. I've only recently signed up to Netflix. I think I'd run through everything on the other platform. So we're giving Netflix a try now, and they've got a new concept.
Well, they'd be very happy with you because they're a bit concerned about losing subscribers. There are 220 million subscribers around the world at the moment, but in the last 6 months they've lost 1.13 million subscribers. They've done their internal investigations, their research on that, trying to work out why they're losing subscribers. And what they think is the reason is that people are concerned about the price. People are paying too much for Netflix, so they want to reduce how much they're paying. So Netflix have said, great, we'll cater to what we believe is the problem. We'll reduce the pricing, which everyone says, well, that's fantastic, but it comes with a catch. They're launching a new tiered service that comes with 4 minutes of ads per hour. And for people that like to be able to sit down and watch their streaming service, like the idea that it's not like free-to-air with ads, I'm not convinced personally that this is the solution, the magic solution for Netflix to stop losing subscribers. I think people will try it out and say, you know what, for the few extra dollars per month, I'm going to stick with the no ad version. It really comes down to me about the content. If you can have that killer content, people will subscribe to your service. So I don't think it comes down to how much it is, because you're not talking about a lot of money. You're not talking about $1,000 a month. You're talking about a few dollars a week that you might pay for some of these services. So I think it's more about the content than anything else.
Right. Moving on to a new experimental fabric that can turn, well, I would say whatever you're wearing into a mini solar farm.
Yeah, and this is where we're going, I think, with so many electronic devices. They're fantastic, whether it's your phone or your watch or your headphones, whatever it might be, but you've got to keep charging them up, and that's always a bit of a hassle. And sometimes when you're travelling, you're out on some trip, or you might be overseas where it's hard to get plugs that go to the right size or the right type of plug. Having a fabric that's got 1,200 miniature solar cells built into it, so for example a jacket with all these miniature solar cells, sounds like a really good idea. Now these solar panels, each of them measures about 5 millimetres by 1.5 millimetres, but they can generate about 400 milliwatts from the sun. So if you had enough of these on your jacket, then you've got enough to be able to maybe not fully power a phone, for example, but at least slow down how quickly it discharges. So there are these sort of concepts. There's actually a new bicycle computer that just came out. And again, it does the same thing. Rather than say that you fully charge it from the sun, it just reduces how quickly it uses up its charge because it's getting some charge from the sun. So I think we'll see a lot of different devices, maybe backpacks, maybe jackets, maybe on headphones. We're already seeing physical large headphones, not earbuds, that have got solar panels built in across the top of them. So I think we'll see lots of different devices with these flexible miniature solar panels built into them so that we can keep charging up these devices as we go about our day.
Remarkable. And finally, let's go to a new process that could see 100% sustainable aviation fuel.
Yeah, this does sound like a really complicated process, but something that I think the entire aviation industry needs to work towards. We'll have, in maybe the next decade, would be my estimation, Rod, we'll have electric planes that will do short trips, Bourke to Dubbo, Dubbo to Sydney, those sort of short trips, maybe less than 1 hour. But the real challenge for the aviation industry is how do you get those flights from Sydney to Dubai or Sydney to LA, for example. When you're up in the air for 13 hours or so, it's pretty hard to do that with batteries because the weight of batteries you need is just so much heavier or makes the plane so much heavier. So there's some research being done by Massachusetts Institute of Technology, Washington State University, and the National Renewable Energy Laboratory in America. And those three have gotten together and they're coming up with this blend stock using lignin as part of the process to get to the stage where they'll have renewable aviation fuel. So rather than having fossil-based fuels, you'll have plant-based fuels. Now, they're not there yet. They're working on it, and they've gotten the high oxygen contents that are typically for lignin been around 27 to 34%. They've gotten that down to 1%. They need to get it probably down even a little bit lower than that for this fuel to be effective. But give it 5 years, I think we'll see jet fuels being used that are based on plants rather than based on oils. And that'll be where you'll start to see these planes obviously being able to fly with renewable power, with renewable fuels, which will be just fantastic for the whole aviation industry.
Certainly will. Matthew Dickerson, it's been great to talk tech with you today.
Thank you very much. Always a pleasure to chat to you, Rod.